What were the problems at 36,000 scale for 1 mg?
Both had their own set of challenges. As I said, I love the problem which is at a 0 to 1 2 stage where nothing has been defined, but you can see the problem and then you start, stitching
Building
one
it.
bit after the other. Today, we have one of the largest liver transplant programs.
Liver transplant.
Yeah.
How do you see AI disrupting hospital models, healthcare models?
Hexa, what we are doing is we are enabling the consultation which is happening between patient doctor.
1 mg exit part and the Tata, takeover kind of a thing. $12-13 million Series A funding that you guys did. And how did you convince the investors?
There is no right way or there is no defined way to convince an investor. I think if the business fundamentals are there, it gets value. I joined HealthCart to work on a project which was HealthCart Plus, build it from scratch, the entire database. So fundamentally, the problem, again, there was information asymmetry. So that's what we solved. The app, it was India's first app in the healthcare space. It got viral. 2015, we decided to demerge the company, separate entity, have a separate board. I joined as the co-founder, renamed it to 1mg. 21, it became Tata 1mg. I exited and then I started HEXAHEALTH. Again, one of the things get discussed is that,
So
Would have
1mg
built-
was a rename that had happened
yes.
from HealthCart Plus.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
got it.
at the background, we have worked almost 3 years before that 1mg came in.
Name came into the picture. And then within 1 year, Tata took over.
No, 21, I think.
So
21.
1mg name got...
2015.
2015. So within 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay, got
So,
it.
I think one of the questions which I had when this was happening was either you can be at 36,000 feet and solve for a problem that is now at a scale, or go back to ground and solve something. I always love solving problems 0 to 1 and then scaling it. And in healthcare, one of the areas which hasn't been touched and which I had also a personal experience that has a lot of challenges for the consumer was hospitalization, and I wanted to solve for it. And that's where Ankur and I decided to exit 1mg and start Hexa, and Dr. Raman joined us in that journey. So
got it.
over the time it happened. One was I happened to meet Prashant, and that's where my introduction to healthcare happened. And then some personal and consumer experiences that led me to understand this problem on the consumer IPD space, that there is a challenge there that needs to be solved.
Got it. So I'll come to this 1mg exit part and the Tata takeover kind of a thing. But tell me, for HexaHealth, when you started, I think 2022 or 21. So when you started HexaHealth, what was the reason behind starting? Was it some personal thing, or was it like just your observation and market study that you were doing? What was it?
See, the experiences, it was both. One was personal. My mother had a paralysis attack because one of the veins got blocked. A part of the brain was not receiving blood. And she survived that stroke, been in ICU for some time. And then the doctor said, you need a surgery to unblock it.
Okay.
Now, she was in Ajmer that time, and we came back to Gurgaon to get that surgery done. And I went to one of the top doctors through the connections we had. And the first thing the doctor says is, surgery lagega, get the surgery done and talk to my assistant for it. I don't think that time or that counseling happened that, this is the problem, these are the options, this is the risk, this is the timeline, this is how you should approach, this is what it looks like.
So there was no proper consultation.
There was no proper counseling. I think consultation get mixed with counseling. I think that
First,
care part, the care part or the overall consultation, what you call, was completely missing. And that was frustrating. Because in Indian healthcare, you believe why you need to share information with the consumer. I mean, this happened with my wife's pregnancy as well. I went to one of the sonography during the term, and the radiologist tells me, wait outside, or you don't need to be here. And once the report is there, he's not even letting me, doctor dekh lega, aap rehne do. They don't make you participative in the healthcare journey. And then a lot of consumer stories where people had faced challenges in their hospitalization need. Be it admission, be it insurance, be it understanding which doctor to go to, be it the procedure that has been recommended, be it between the two procedures that been recommended, or should they wait, or it is urgent, and what are the post-operative complications of the journey like
So
that.
there's no hand holding only
There is no,
of the patient and
there
the
is,
family.
yeah, so there is no hand holding, there is no clear path, there is no clear visibility. It is each step, if you go and ask, it's there. Otherwise, there's no standard way of operating, or there's no partner who
So
can
there
help
is
you.
no roadmap that on day 0 they will tell you कि अच्छा ये आपका day 1 को करना है, day 2 पे you have to do this, day 7 you have to do this, day 20 it should get solved, and that is where your course gets completed.
Yeah.
Something on those
Yes.
lines.
Yes.
Got it.
And
नहीं
that's
तो आप जब खुद जाके पूछोगे कि सर अभी क्या, then they will tell
exactly,
you अच्छा now you go and do this.
exactly, nobody will tell you कि आपके डिस्चार्ज के बाद इसमें swelling होगी, blood oozing होगी,
Hmm.
pain रहेगा, redness रहेगी, scar आएगा. Nobody tells you that.
Hmm.
So that was the frustrating moment. And when I came and met the doctor's representative or whatever, and they're like, हाँ admit करवा दो, इतना खर्चा आएगा. And I'm like,
Direct
we
admit
are
करना.
from Ajmer. हाँ बोले relative आते रहेंगे, आप admit करा दो. And that's where I felt कि if I having access, I came from a connection and I'm getting treated this way, what would be our general consumer? So that was way before 21. I think that was 2017, 18. I felt that there is a need to solve it.
Hmm.
And I've been itching to do something on that. And I think the businesses are very different. It's a very high touch point, low volume. You need to continuously handhold the journey. So that was, something I kept thinking about it, that needs to be done aligned at some point of the journey. And then when 21, that point came. I mentioned earlier, it was a choice whether to be at a 36,000
Mhm.
feet and be at a business that is scaling, or you go down and start a problem that has not been solve a problem that has not yet been solved. And that is, personally, I felt would be something more challenging for me.
Quick question: what were the problems at 36,000 scale for 1 mg? And here, though, you mentioned the problem was this: you went through a personal problem, a personal pain, and then, of course, you must have done your study, etc. But what was the problem at 1 mg there?
Yeah, so
At
the
that
problem
point in
there
time?
is you are the number one player there. You have the largest app. Now, how do you build a business out there and get more efficient? So largely the problem was around scaling your distribution business, scaling your delivery business, reaching more geographies, expanding your diagnostic business, expanding your consultation business. So all the businesses were at 100 or 1,000 scale. You multiply from there. Those were very different problem than, a completely unsolved problem which was
you
here.
start from 0. Got it.
So both had their own set of challenges. As I said, I love the problem which is at a 0 to 1 2 stage where nothing has been defined, but you can see the problem and then you start, stitching
Building
one bit after the other.
Tell me about Hexa Health right now. So currently, when you started Hexa Health and today where you are in these 5 years, what have you built? What is Hexa Health about? If you would want to give us a brief on that.
So, as I said, in a consumer journey, we discussed this, in an IPD journey, there are so many challenges a consumer face. It starts whenever a surgery is recommended to you. What is this surgery? Most people don't even have the details on what is this surgery. Largely, you are able to put this will be this body part or the other body part, right? The second problem is most people not able to understand which doctor to go to. There is cardiologist, there is a vascular surgeon, and at times आपको नहीं समझ में आता. ठीक है. The third problem is between us, a case that needs to be done. There may be 2-3 procedures to approach it. There is completely scarless lapro procedure or an open surgery, and each doctor has its own set of experience and way that this should be the best. Now, for the consumer, how do you decide? A lot of people decide who is the best surgeon by number of years of experience. I mean, that's really a very a questionable aspect for the consumer कि कहाँ जाए, किसके पास जाए. Then the second question comes on the affordability aspect. Insurance है, उसमें क्या cover होगा, नहीं होगा, and all that. And then the third part is the hospital logistics itself. अगर आप hospital जाते हैं, आपको यहाँ पे कंसल्टेशन करा दिया, फिर वहां पे आपका टेस्ट करा के आइए, फिर वहां की रिपोर्ट इधर लेके आइए, फिर यहाँ से ये चीज प्लान होगी. अटेंडेंट ना वहां पे बैठा रहता है इन्फॉर्मेशन के लिए. एंड देन पोस्ट हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन, देयर इज नो aspect of pre-hospitalization कि आपको ये preparation करके आनी है, and there is no aspect of post-hospitalization कि ये चीजें ध्यान रखनी. So every touch point the consumer has a challenge. So largely information asymmetry and फंडामेंटल बिलीफ है कि यार कंज्यूमर को या पेशेंट को पार्टिसिपेटिव नहीं बनाते हो अपनी जर्नी में. तो कंज्यूमर इज लेफ्ट एट द मर्सी कि जो हो रहा है मतलब ठीक ही हो रहा है,
लोग बोल रहे हैं वो ठीक ही
मेरा सीटी कराने क्यों ले गए, या मेरा ये एक्स्ट्रा टेस्ट क्यों हो गया, या ये वाला टेस्ट अचानक से क्यों हो गया. एंड दैट्स वेयर द प्रॉब्लम इज. Now, structurally, if you have to look at it, and when I went deep into it, there are three core aspects of a consumer surgical aspect. ठीक है? At the core is the surgical or the clinical part, which is the surgeon does it or the doctor or the skilled person does it. ठीक है? The above part is उसके ऊपर administrative. ठीक है, कि जितना भी आपको लॉजिस्टिक्स चाहिए, ये फॉर्म भरना है, ये इंश्योरेंस का पेपर वर्क है, ये कैश का है, ये व्हाटएवर. एंड देन उसके ऊपर होता है काउंसलिंग लेयर, जो केयर लेयर भी कहलाता है. नाउ ये होता है कि आपको ये बताया गया है कि ये बीमारी है, ये आपकी प्रॉब्लम है, ये आपको इस तरह से करना है. सो एंड दीज लेयर्स मूव दिस वे ओनली. सबसे पहले आपकी काउंसलिंग होती है, कंसल्टेशन जिसे हम कहेंगे, वेयर you get aware of your problem, you reach out to a doctor makes you understand this is the problem that you are facing. आपने टेस्ट वगैरह कराए होंगे, उसके बेसिस पे डिटर्मिनेशन आया, एंड देन ही टेल्स यू दिस इज योर पाथ फॉरवर्ड, ये सर्जरी होगी, इसके लिए हम ये करेंगे एंड व्हाटएवर. देन यू गो टू द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव लेयर, जहां पे somebody will look at the paperwork, admission done and whatever, and then comes the core surgical layer. What happens is this core surgical layer, counseling and care, वो सब डॉक्टर पे छोड़ दी जाती है कि assumed होता है कि डॉक्टर कर लेगा. एंड द डॉक्टर इज हिमसेल्फ सो बर्डन कि वो केयर तो आ ही नहीं पाती, बिकॉज
काम सिर्फ सर्जरी का ही है. वो
हाँ उतना स्ट्रेच नहीं होता. प्री सर्जरी काउंसलिंग, पोस्ट सर्जरी काउंसलिंग, वो बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है कि डे इन डे आउट वो उतना डीपली कर पाए. डॉक्टर अज्यूम्स कि वो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव लेयर कर लेगी, एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव लेयर डजंट हैव दैट कैपेबिलिटी टू डू इट. सो मतलब आपका ज्यादातर क्वेश्चन डॉक्टर से नहीं होता, वहां पे जो नर्स और जो वार्ड बॉय या व्हाटएवर होगा उनसे ज्यादा
इंटरेक्शन होगा,
उनसे ज्यादा क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे होते हैं. और वो अपना पार्शियल इंफॉर्मेशन ऑपरेशनली देगा.
हाँ करेक्ट.
दैट्स व्हाट द फंडामेंटल प्रॉब्लम इज कि ये स्ट्रक्चर ऐसा बन गया है कि इसमें पेशेंट का केयर कहीं पे भी नहीं है. एंड दैट्स व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू सॉल्व इफ यू लुक एट इट.
ओके.
Any aspect of your surgical journey where a symptom comes and you know now I need to consult a doctor, or you don't know, or a surgery has been prescribed and you want to interact with a surgeon, right there till the time you are fully fit, discharged, recovered, till then that is the entire journey we handhold and we enable for you.
Okay, so you onboard these surgeons or these doctors on your platform, and you can do a online consultation or an offline consultation.
We enable the access. So these doctors are already there. We enable them access to our platform, and we enable consumer to reach out to them. So anybody, say suppose you have a surgical query or you want to get details or on a surgical aspect, you fill out a query form on our site. Our trained counselor. So what we've done, so talking about that, this needs to be solved, this needs to be solved. The fundamental question is how this needs to be solved. I think the value was what we have figured out is in quality counseling. So we built a team who's trained in one department of one surgical aspect, where those 25-30 basic questions which a consumer asks around this non-clinical, those get trained to these people, and these are doctors, BDS, BMS, nursing staff, whatever, and they talk to the consumer when the query comes. Couple of things that we are able to solve with it is one, when you visit a doctor, most time it happens that you visit a doctor, the first thing doctor says is ye test kara ke aana.
Correct.
Or you have done a test but those are incomplete, one more test is needed, or one test you've done, it has one test in one parameter, there is a spike, and then there is another test that needs to be done.
Correct. To verify it
or go deeper in it. So what we do, we get all that information, get the file ready, and then enable that consultation. So what it saves is doctor time where he focuses on quality counseling, consumer time where he doesn't have to go if you're going physically to meet the doctor, and a quality conversation on.
So these are things your team will only look after. Okay,
yes.
This is the thing, then you get your test done, etc. Once you're ready, then we put you through a proper surgeon or a doctor.
proper surgeon, doctor, whichever is your
Whoever is
requirement.
needed. Yeah.
Yes. So imagine now, if you want to come to Bombay from Nagpur, Nasik, or whatever to show to a doctor who's a top doctor in his field, because you have a complicated case. You come here and the first thing he says, "ये दो report incomplete है, ये करा के आना." Now the report will take another 3 days. Who will make your travel arrangement? Who will make your stay arrangement? Whether you stay here and get the test done and wait. Then the second question is, the doctor is busy. Now you'll not get another appointment for 7 days. Now your tests are done, but the appointment is not there. So what we do is we make that whole system efficient for everyone.
Okay. Got it.
Just by proper counseling.
Got it. So that initial level of counseling and that care is taken care by you guys before he actually moves to a surgeon, and before there is a chance of a surgery to be done or something.
See, every company, every business is built around consumer at the center.
Correct.
In healthcare, it is very, very difficult to figure out how to build a business model which keeping consumer at the center. I think that's what we are trying to solve. At 1MG, we solved that. Here also, we are solving it. Step by step, be it your product, be it your operation, be it your team. If that fundamental focus is there, that solve for it. Otherwise, operationally, these can be solved multiple ways. You can enable the consultation कि आप जाओ डॉक्टर के पास, अब डॉक्टर ने बोला तो what can I do? But what can I do से अगर आप empathy पे आ जाओगे ना कि यार इसको तो अब एक दिन एक्स्ट्रा लग गया, what can I do to avoid that extra day? जहाँ पे वो क्वेश्चन आता, पूरी चीज को दूसरे लेयर से देखते हो, and that's what we are solving.
Very well said. Yeah. Tell me about your existing numbers. How many surgeries you all have enabled? How many consultations have been done?
See, today we are roughly around 2,500 surgeries a month. We get over 1 million hits on our website. I think it is our capability to reach out to the consumers, our operational capability that is limiting us today. We are present in 5 cities: Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Pune. What we have enabled is, a set of doctors and hospitals, we call it partner network, which can be accessed to any consumer who's looking out for that problem. With a team of counselors who are qualified in multiple specialties to address those queries. So today we have one of the largest liver transplant programs.
Liver transplant.
Yeah. Okay. So our counselors are verified, trained, the whatever certifications government has defined, we have done that. And they work with the top doctors, top hospitals to enable the patient access. And I think the true value, I always say, if you want to understand our business, go and read our Google reviews. I mean, patient talk at length about our service. Somebody coming from Kashmir to Delhi, if you are able to solve, that list of items that are needed, where he doesn't have to wait now another 3 days after coming here to get basic tests done or basic alignment.
Usko tabhi bol diya tha when he's in Kashmir.
Yeah.
And that time gets saved.
And then there are at times, there are things that you don't understand. उस टाइम पे आप शायद डॉक्टर से पूछ नहीं पाए या डॉक्टर के पास टाइम नहीं हुआ, then our team help that, and then again ability to connect with the doctor to get those answers, and then enable that surgical journey. So we have done that. We've not started oncology yet. We have not started kidney transplant yet. As I said, it needs deep counseling for the counselor to understand that I should be able to take care of it.
Deep domain knowledge, expertise is required.
Exactly.
For that patient also to trust you on that topic.
Exactly. So that's there. And now with AI capabilities, we are scaling our business. So a part of it is now taken care by AI, where the basic screening, basic repeated things are
initial
stuff, and then the counselor takes up. So I think we will scale rapidly from here with the enablement, but I think the core value, as I said, is of the counseling. As I told, there's a surgical layer, there's an administrative layer, and there is this whole counseling layer should have been there that is missing. We are playing around it. Correct. It's a wrap that enables the entire journey seamless for the patient and the caregiver.
Got it. Walk us through your recent, I think, $12-13 million Series A funding that you guys did. Explain me how did that happen, and how did you go about it? What are your plans with the funds, etc.? And how did you convince the investors?
There is no right way, or there is no defined way to convince an investor. I think if the business fundamentals are there, it gets valued. I think there were a couple of things that stood out for us. One was very, very strong operating metrics. We never see. For me, one of the things I learned is if you're solving for problem, it has to have a clear use case, that what are you solving, and will the consumer pay for it. Initial in our journey, when we tested this hypothesis, um, consumers were in pain, and to part away or to attribute a value to it was very, very easy for the consumer, and that's what has helped us. What we enable for consumer is access, and that is get value, and for hospital we become the extended arm. So our revenue largely comes from the hospital, because hospital is the only person that can get invoiced, can invoice the consumer, and that's have been
and they can only pay you, for sure.
They can only pay us. So what investor liked about the businesses was clarity of understanding of the problem, that how we are able to articulate that what problem exists, and how bits and pieces you are adding up to solve it. It was not this is one solution that will work, or the cookie cutter model that will work. It was that deep understanding of the problem and the solution that we presented, that this is how it will be solved, and we proved it in certain sections. Two was going deep with before going wide. So instead of getting into 10, 15 cities and doing it
spreading yourself
thin, we went into 3 cities and built ourselves deeply. And same with the category of surgeries that we deal with. So instead of having all the surgical verticals, we limited ourselves where we could fully serve the patient. As I said, counseling shouldn't get missed. So we deal in 7 categories. There are still a lot more categories to be built. As I said, we started liver transplant. We've been building it for 3 years, but today we are the category leader in it. Now we'll pick up another. So we're starting oncology. We're starting other organ transplants as well. So that has been the expertise that we were able to show. And third was the consumer love. As I said, read our Google reviews. You will understand, the problem the consumer is facing is much more deeper than we anticipate, and the solution is a complex one to deliver. So it's not that if you have 10 players tomorrow you will have. It is enabling an ecosystem problem.
Correct.
So it's not that somebody will come tomorrow and can it easily be solved. It needs enablement of the doctor. It needs enablement of the administrative staff. It needs enablement of the hospital. It needs a lot of other things to work together to help that one interaction go well. And that's what we are able to bring to the team. So these 3 factors, I think, stood out for us.
And any particular metrics in a healthcare kind of a domain that is very important for a founder to have when he or she is pitching to an investor, which you guys used for your startup also, and in general in a healthcare startup it's important, like a good operational metric
in general. So it is a very business specific as well. So I'll talk about the business that we are in, and in general in healthcare. See, it has a very limited margin gain for a overall industry as well.
Okay.
So pharma is a very, very defined, organized, limited margin play, and the consumer is not ready to pay. And neither the hospital is ready to invest, neither the consumer is ready to pay more, neither the provider is ready to invest. So it becomes difficult. So be clear on the problem you are solving and who's going to pay and why they are going to pay. So that is one part. 2, in general, again, limit your fixed cost. In other businesses, the scalability will help you adjust the fixed cost, but in health, the scalability will come slowly. It's a long game.
And this is because of the point that you had mentioned, that it is high touch point, high value, but low volume.
Yeah, in general, it's not specifically to do this. In general also, if the fixed cost becomes a challenge in healthcare, because in finance, the scalability is very, very infinite level. You can go beyond geographies as well. Healthcare, it's a slow trust building game. There you are investing 1,000 rupees in fin sector or whatever, and the risk is 1,000 rupees only. It's a high touch point and high involvement category. Your life or your sustainable aspect is involved in terms of the interaction you are doing. So people tend to, a lot more risk averse. So it will take time before you can build a brand and the consumers start trusting. So your exponential growth will come, but initial years will be challenged. So if you spread too wide or if you have high fixed cost, the business economics will not let you survive.
So one is limit your fixed cost.
The first is what problem you are solving,
Be clear
who's
in
going to
that.
pay,
Yeah.
and why they are going to pay.
Okay.
Because that will determine what is the value you can extract out of it. The second is limit your fixed cost.
Limit your fixed
Because
cost.
to identify this, that how much a consumer can pay for it will take time. And before that, if your fixed costs have shortened up, you will not be able to justify. So
Got it.
your unit economics should be very, very clear on it.
Got it. So these are the two typical metrics one should be careful about.
Yeah.
Okay. Typical margins in a healthcare business are what?
There are different businesses. Diagnostics will have a different margin depending on how you play. The pharma has a different margin, and hospital will have a different business, and an aggregator or an enabler like us will have a different one. So margins is not the typical commodity business or a your value e-commerce जिसमें इतना clear हो जाए. It's a different business.
Got it. And how are you leveraging your Series A funds to scale from where you are today to, let's say, 2 years, 1.5 years down the line?
See, one, I said we've been very limited in terms of geography. So we are now starting cities. So we've started Hyderabad, we started Pune. So we've started 2 more cities and now building it. So there are 3 fundamental areas that we are investing the capital in. One is technology. As I said and mentioned that AI is going to be an enabler. As a company today, you will have to, identify where you can leverage the capabilities and make yourself much more efficient and much more future ready. So that's one area where we want to invest in. Second is geographical expansion. And third is the counseling team. Now we want to expand to other disease areas as well.
Okay.
These are the
other categories basically,
other
like
categories.
Oncology you mentioned, maybe kidney. Transplant also.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
got it.
So expand your geographical width, expand your horizontal offering to the consumer, and then enablement of the technology on these. So these are the 3 areas that we are investing our capital and energies on.
Got it. And when you are going to scale, right, and these are new verticals that you're adding. So of course your 0 to 1 journey is over. So now this is like 1 to 10, I would believe. In this particular journey, what are the key hires, new processes, new SOPs that you'll have to set in your business? Because now that will be a very key role, right?
So one of the things that been close to my heart is you build the team and the team builds the company.
Correct.
So that has been my motto. So I only figure out the best person or the team, then I give them the freedom. I only come into the picture when they need help or they want to chat. Otherwise,
but isn't it easier said than done also? क्योंकि as a founder है आपको कहीं ना कहीं तो मैनेजमेंट माइक्रो मैनेजमेंट में कभी-कभी घुसना ही पड़ता है.
I have not touched. So touchwood, being maybe blessed on that part or whatever. Either we have understood this game in last 10 years or we've been extremely lucky. I don't know, but at least we had the same thing at 1MG, and now at Hexa has been that way. One person running that show entirely has been the blessings that we had. I never faced a challenge, or I don't have a micromanagement. I usually don't have to deal on daily stuff. Fundamentally, one principle I work with is if the thing has come to me, is a escalation or is an exception. So let me add on.
Yeah, I got it.
So there is a process for everything. So if there is a process, if it has come to me, was it because there was no process? So escalation because we don't have a process around it, or was it an exception कि process था लेकिन उसमें ये exception आ गया कि हमें 90% पर approval देना but इस पे 89 पे देने के लिए request आई है. So these are the 2 principles I operate in. अगर process नहीं है तो I will make a process and then it will be made company wide. अगर exception है तो then I will empower them कि यार इस type के exceptions तुम भी handle कर सकते हो. And the team has always responded. They've done well. So I think we invest time on hiring. We invest time on the first 2-3 months the employee in their onboarding journey. Give them that opportunity and check regularly initially that is that decision making there. If they are facing any challenge in ownership, if they are facing any challenge in understanding the process, handhold them that. And once they are there, then let them thrive. That has been there, and team has done well.
तो अभी ये scale up के लिए आपको कौन से key hires you will be requiring, and not getting into the positions per se, but what are the key hires, key processes you might have to change, a few processes also.
Yeah. So obviously, so there are multiple parts of the business. So
just give us 1-2 examples. Good.
Yeah. So one is each city we have a clear playbook. Over the time we've developed this. One city head and then 2 teams under them. Okay. One is for econ, one for operations, and then operations will have. So that playbook is ready. What each person has to do.
Oh, her city mein jaake aapko copy paste.
So you what your major investment is the city head, and then you start with the lowest level. तो middle layer पहले साल में नहीं करते. Let the city person head go on the ground and work with the ground people to manage it, and then you slowly get the middle layer. So the person above knows everything that is happening on ground. And what has helped in this is a lot of the people who started on ground will rise to +1 level.
Or then you'll have to hire the lower people only.
Exactly. So 1, it helps you reduce the cost. 2, the understanding of the system is very, very high. 3, the loyalty of the people is high because you've given them growth. So we give that opportunity, that chance the person to grow, and they deliver. So that has worked.
Got it. To deal with hospitals and to deal in the healthcare ecosystem, of course, it's very compliance heavy, government regulated, stuff like that. How did you hack, partnerships with these guys, with the doctors within the system? How did you do that?
I think it's the value that you can unlock for them. It's basically
because एक तरीके से, sorry to interrupt, but एक तरीके से doctors का नाम काफी खराब होता है in multiple domains.
I was coming to that point. See, if you can go and convince them that their patient-centric approach or your focus on patient is going to help you as well, that what changes the conversation. If you have a conversation on कि 10 लाख का धंधा करते हैं, 15 लाख का धंधा करते हैं, 1 करोड़ का धंधा बना देंगे,
तो आपको ये मिलेगा, आपको वो मिलेगा.
I think that can excite few people and that can survive for short term. But when you talk about value creation, that this is how we are doing our counseling, these are 2 things that I can help you with. So our hospital conversations has also been on that, there is a data that comes. So we track a lot of data. What has been the readmission rate? What has been the reinfection rate? Suddenly, for example, in one of the hospitals, there were 3 infection cases.
Okay.
And we did our RC and we realized that, there might be a case that the OT was infected. So we informed the hospital, got it sanitized, whatever, done that again. So that is the feedback which is again going back to them. Okay. Surgeon quality and other aspects on the operational side that they have not, or they are doing it but not getting captured or whatever. So from our consumers, we are able to make that journey for them as well, that information flow back to them. So if I'm able to deliver a happy patient, if I'm able to get the surgical outcomes better, defined and published as well, that helps them in the visibility as well. So I think, as I said, healthcare is a long game and you have to build trust. What we are able to deliver that is through the consumer experiences that we are in. So initial conversations were difficult, but over the time we have demonstrated it. They have seen the value. Doctors have their very close-knit community. It's a small community. They talk about you. So पहला city difficult था, but उसके बाद आसान था. People could see our value. And today we are not present.
But do you think many, in your conversations, you would have felt many doctors or hospital heads or whatever, CEOs, they would look at it as a, chalo theek hai, naya business mil sakta hai yahan se. Do they also, few of them, do they also look at it from that angle? And not at an angle कि अच्छा value creation है. That is your angle. How you are.
Business opportunities hospital के पास ऐसे बहुत सारी आती हैं. मतलब I don't think we are the only one who come and say कि यार this is a business opportunity. I'm sure there are X number of people
and everyone is open for ideas
will come and say yeah, there is additional business, and I don't think anybody in their sane mind say I'm saying no to the business.
No to business.
I think what the value is and what we are able to get a seat at the table is that value creation jointly for them and the consumer value or the patient value that we are able to add to it. वो चीज नहीं हो पाती. आई थिंक मेडिकल टूरिज्म तो चल ही रहा है, मतलब 50 लोग पेशेंट लेके ही आते हैं, मार्केटिंग हॉस्पिटल में एग्जिस्ट करती ही है, बट ये जो काउंसलिंग लेयर है ना, जब हम जाके डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करते हैं, दिखाते हैं, मतलब इफ यू लुक एट इट, हाउ मेनी हॉस्पिटल्स हैव अ 4.8 रेटिंग विद 5000 प्लस रेटिंग्स डन बाय द कंज्यूमर, एंड कंज्यूमर सिर्फ एक एक वर्ड नहीं लिख रहा, पूरी कहानी लिख रहा है, यू आर लाइक अ ब्रदर टू मी, यू लाइक अ सिस्टर टू मी, यू सेव्ड माय ब्रदर्स लाइफ, यू सेव व्हाटएवर, वो ना वो वैल्यू आना मुश्किल होती है. So they might have 10 partners, but what we are able to get is a long-term partnership with them. So one of the hospitals today is discussing, "Yaar, your counseling is better. Why I'm building my own call center? Why don't you take my entire counseling?" So those are the conversation now we have entered. Your top corporate hospitals have opened their OTs to us. So VC model through us was limited to let's just say a tier 1 hospital, but corporate hospitals nahi the. A lot of corporate top brands in the country have opened their OTs to us. Yes, that you are taking care of the clinical aspect, you are taking care of the counseling, so they have trusted us with that journey. So wo conversation change ho jati hai.
Correct.
And you look at what can we jointly create. So very very different conversation than saying कि अच्छा हाँ ये भी 10 पेशेंट देता, वो भी 20 पेशेंट देता, ठीक है. What we are discussing is how we can jointly create a value now. I am looking for expansion. Can we look at partnership there? कि मैं एक नई city open करूँ, you solve the demand problem to us, I solve the supply problem for you, and can we look at something to be created there? वो that's the fundamental difference that has come over the time now.
Got it. Have you done any pivots anytime, either in 1mg or in this?
Nothing that I can look at. I think vision wide पे clear ही था कि कैसे करना है. I think there were step changes which have come over the time. For example, opening our own labs.
Okay.
So वो step changes आए थे, opening our own distribution business. So वो step changes business में आए थे, but fundamental problem जो solve कर रहे थे, as I said, we've been very very frugal. मतलब वो टीम भी वैसी ही है, हम भी वैसे ही हैं. Unless I have a clarity on this problem needs to be solved this way, वो ऐसा नहीं कि उसको 10 सिटी में कर दो फिर देखेंगे. So we've been very very clear on the problem. हम problem अच्छे से define करते हैं, and then look at कि what is the solution that will work, and then test and move ahead with it.
Got it.
So pivot as such vision alignment में कभी challenge आया नहीं. So that long term vision was always very very clear. I think 22 I remember, I think 10 years of 1mg or whatever one day, I framed one paper and gifted to Prashant, on which 2012 में हमने वो paper draw करा था कि क्या करना है. तो 2 पन्ने और वो 90% true है आज. So that way, as I said, see, if your understanding of the problem is very very high, your pivots is that challenging aspect. वो
छोटे मोटे चेंजेस हो गए, but it will not be a pivot in the model.
मतलब मॉडल ही completely आपने चेंज कर दिया, वो वैसा नहीं है. Industry, I have seen that happen. I think there was industry at certain way they were looking at solving the problem. They were very very deep, verticalized and limited to few verticals. कि सिर्फ secondary care surgeries करेंगे या day care और overnight वाली करेंगे. And we believed यार it's a horizontal problem. अगर किसी को आज पाइल्स का प्रॉब्लम है, तो उसके फैमिली में या उसका किसी का वापस से पाइल्स होना कम है, हार्ट या कैंसर या कोई भी और होना ज्यादा है. सेकेंडली, लेट्स जस्ट से यू नीड अनदर इंटरेक्शन विद द हेल्थ केयर, और यू समबडी आस्क यू, आप पाइल्स के लिए तो इसको बता दोगे, लेकिन बाकी के लिए कहाँ? And healthcare में the value of referral is there. So you look at any of the top hospitals, 90% is referral. वो खुद से जो walk in वहाँ जा रहा है, that is the trust you have built. You're spending zero on marketing. And that's the stage we want to reach in. So वो हमारा बहुत क्लियर था कि it will be a horizontal play. We day one से हमने horizontal play start किया था, and today it is reaping its value.
Yeah, the thing that you mentioned, that 90% of the patients come in through referral, that happens of course. And इसमें does it happen or has it happened to you guys where आप लोग तो ऑफकोर्स उनको काउंसिल कर रहे हो, केयर कर रहे हो इनिशियल लेवल पे, यू माइट रेकमेंड कि अच्छा यू शुड गो टू दिस एक्स हॉस्पिटल, दिस एक्स डॉक्टर फॉर दिस सर्जरी. तो वो लोग शायद उनके पास जाए कुछ इनिशियल फीडबैक या कुछ भी लेके, बट दे विल आल्सो डू अ सेकंड लेवल ऑफ मे बी अ सेकंड डॉक्टर ओपिनियन, जो एक डॉक्टर ओपिनियन बोलते हैं, 2 or 3 डॉक्टर्स फॉर एनी सर्जरी. टिपिकली अ पर्सन टेक्स 2 or 3 ओपिनियंस. तो फिर वो दूसरे बंदे उसके फैमिली में या किसी का ओपिनियन लेके इट चेंजेस देयर डिसीजन चेंजेस.
सो अगेन यही होता है कि if you have a deeper understanding of problem, this is not how things work. Okay.
Okay.
So there are three categories of surgeries that play out. One is your tabooed category. So your anything related to piles, circumcision, sexual wellness, gynae related, you are not very open to ask.
हाँ वो सबको नहीं पूछेंगे.
Nobody will put it on society WhatsApp group क्या मुझे पाइल्स है, किसी ने कराया है क्या? ठीक है, कोई भी नहीं लिखता मैं सर्कमसिजन कराने जाना है, किससे कराऊं? ठीक है, ये सब आप ऑनलाइन देखते हो, चुपचाप आते हो और ऑनलाइन दीज आर माइनर सर्जरीज एज वेल, लो रिस्क, लो टर्न अराउंड टाइम, सो consumers are very hush about it and want to get it done.
Yeah.
So this is one category. So this is naturally aligned with the
with the
platform. So वहाँ पे second third opinion का कुछ ज्यादा आता है, ठीक है, price sensitivity होती है, quality के लिए fight होती है, and that's about it. There is another category where everybody heard about it but nobody knows. अब liver transplant में आपने liver transplant से आगे ABCD नहीं सुनी होगी. Liver transplant होता है, कैसे होता है, क्या क्या चाहिए होता है, कितने दिन लगते हैं, सर्वाइवल रेट कितना है, क्या प्रोसेस होगा, कितने दिन होंगे, कितने डॉक्टर लगेंगे.
वो आपके फैमिली में लोगों को हुआ नहीं होगा, बहुत मतलब
बहुत ऐसे ही होता है, बहुत तो सुना होता है, बट even if it is it's such a complicated thing that you don't know, you need somebody who is qualified or who have developed their skill to counsel you. तो इसके बारे में पता होता है, लेकिन आओगे आप इसके लिए, इसमें सेकंड ओपिनियन का चांस कम इसलिए रह जाता है क्योंकि जब हुआ है तो आप पहले ही एक ही डॉक्टर को ढूंढते हो who is top in the field. अब गिने चुने ही डॉक्टर होते हैं जो कर सकते हैं, उसमें भी आप चॉइस करके एक के पास चले गए, सेकंड ओपिनियन सेकंड मिलना कॉस्टली भी अफेयर है, टाइमली भी अफेयर है, एंड लॉजिस्टिक्स अलग.
Correct.
तो जनरली होता नहीं,
कोई दूसरे सिटी में हो सकता.
तो ये दो कैटेगरी हो गई. आपकी तीसरी कैटेगरी आती है जिसमें सुना भी सबने है, पता भी सबको, इस पे आप प्राइस पे खेल रहे हो कि बेटर प्राइस मिल जाए या उस प्राइस में कुछ और मिल जाए. सो योर नी रिप्लेसमेंट, ये हार्ट
ऑर्थोपेडिक स्टफ,
ऑर्थो हो गया, हार्ट के हो गए कि आपको ये बाईपास करवाना है, सबके मतलब इसमें फैमिली में सोसाइटी में एक दो हुए होते हैं, सबने अपनी कहानी सुनाई हुई होती है. अब आप देखते हो कि यार कॉस्ट तो पता ही है, कैन आई गेट बेटर क्वालिटी इन द सेम प्राइस और आई कैन गेट अ लिटिल लेसर प्राइस, क्योंकि बहुत ही स्टैंडर्ड प्रोसीजर हो गया है.
लोकेशन इज
क्लोजर हो जाए, या मतलब you look at certain other parameters that can be optimized, right? And you looking at that comfort. So इसमें second opinion चाहिए होता है. This is the only category जहाँ पे, क्योंकि इसमें consumer knowledge थोड़ी बहुत है, इसमें वो participate कर लेगा. ठीक है. So these are the three categories that play out. This is, as I said, चुपचाप चलता है,
जो आप लोग का है,
तो bulk भी यहाँ पे है. I think this is there is less volume but a very very deep specialized category. यहाँ पे second opinion लगता है, यहाँ पे वो चीज वैसे ही वर्क करती है. So this is how it works.
What's your take on robotic surgeries that are happening? Because you are having a first hand view of surgeries, and you're in the ecosystem.
So I think there is a technology penetration which is happening in every industry, and robotics is certainly the way forward. I think it's not a blanket answer for everyone. There are a couple of factors which determine which is which one will be best for you, a robotic or a non-robotic. As I said initially, at a consumer level, for the same surgery, there could be one or two options available to you. Now, which one is best for you? So, I have a very limited understanding. I think a doctor can tell you more about it. But whatever interactions I had, one or two parameters that get played is one is consumer. How is the consumer condition, age, body, and other factors that play whether a robotic or whether a non-robotic surgery will be relevant for you. Two is complication, the disease complication itself. That is the factor. And third is obviously the surgeon capability. All these factors combinedly determine whether you should.
And even the patient's approval or their.
I'm assuming that if you can understand these three factors, you will be able to take a decision. See. Today the challenge is doctor says you're robotic करेंगे क्योंकि ये अच्छा है, and end of it. You've not answered or you've not understood which are the parameters I should evaluate on. So I think it is evolving. We are also learning.
कोई देखे आपके business में?
Yeah, we do. Orthopedics में उसमें तो होता ही है. See, I think it will move forward. It will have better and more nuanced use cases. It has come forward what it was 5 years before. पहले पूरी सिटी में ही 2 होते थे, अब every hospital is. So there are certain procedures in which it has become very very relevant, very very defined. So
like a orthopedic
knee replacement में उसमें काफी ज़्यादा.
So we are seeing this in multiple hospitals and cities.
Yes, exactly what I said. क्योंकि वो लर्निंग सिस्टम की और कैपेबिलिटी सर्जन की काफी ज्यादा
वो
उसमें
डीप हो
इंक्रीज
गए,
हो गई है
हाँ।
कि वो ज्यादा एक्सेस बन रहा है उसका, ठीक है. Second is consumer acceptance on the price point. Because it's slightly higher, the paying capacity of the consumer is also a relevant factor here.
ओके.
So वो अब थोड़ा सा बेटर हुआ तो ज्यादा अडॉप्शन आ रहा, ज्यादा अडॉप्शन आ रहा तो ज्यादा लर्निंग हो रही है, ज्यादा लर्निंग हो रही है, देयर आर मोर पीपल हु आर गेटिंग trained on it, and then in future that will happen. So it is moving in that direction, but the parameters for it again will depend on the three factors that I told you, and there may be more. I think there is a doctor or a surgeon who can comment on it in a better fashion, but जो मेरा learning था I've shared.
Interesting. Before we wrap up, one very intriguing question I have is globally, maybe let's take US as a market, and in India, what's the difference between something like a aggregator that you are building and the kind of care counseling that you are doing vis-a-vis a US market?
See, this get asked a lot, and we've been going deep on it for a very very long time. See, both are very very fundamental model. One, the largely it's an insurance driven market. You need to follow a system and a step by system to get an access to a surgeon or a specialist. Here you directly approach a specialist. There a larger part of the entire value is funded by the insurance companies or the provider. Here the larger part of the value is pocket funded by the consumer. So they are very very differently oriented. So having a direct comparison is very difficult, but what you look at is there was a stage or there was a problem which was forming, and then there is a solution which came. So for example, a lot of consumer didn't know how much they will have to pay out of pocket because of the insurance. They said everything will be covered in insurance. What procedure, what all they need to take care so that that it gets covered in the insurance. So that clarity for the consumer was not there. So a lot of aggregators came there to help you navigate that this is your insurance, this is the procedure needed, this is what you need to do so that it gets covered. So there that whole ecosystem got built around that. Because there was high insurance penetration, there was a high SOP that got deployed, be it the hospital level, be it that the distribution or whatever. There's a very, very high SOP that got defined. So the model was that, how you understand your mapping to it, the consumer mapping to it, this is what your be out of pocket expense after the insurance, or what you need to do to maximize it, right? In India, that's not there. Here, the problem of excess, affordability, and understandability is there. There, the problem of excess is different because the structure.
Yeah.
But the level of understanding that you will get, the
clear.
information asymmetry on the counseling part is less. Affordability, very, very differently played. Here are completely out of pocket. There's, insurance driven. So, very very different set of problems, but I think the solution remains on that same guiding principle that consumer is facing there on the utilization of the insurance and accessibility. Here again, accessibility in a different way and affordability to be enabled. I think the fundamental aspects are getting addressed, but in a very very different shape and form.
Got it. Before we close, one tip to a healthcare founder that you would want to give who's starting out right now in this industry. See, it's true for anything. So as I said, healthcare is a long game. So we overestimate what we'll achieve in a short term, and we underestimate what we can achieve in the long term. So that's true for healthcare. So I think the way in healthcare, you have to build a community. Build a community of consumers who have interacted or not interacted, but trust you. And that will get you the non-exponential growth, the exponential growth that you'll be hoping for. That's at one time that J curve would come then.
Whether that curve will come or not, but that's where your rationalization of cost will start happening. Because until unless that referral or that patient understanding and recognize your brand and coming in is not happening, till then you're solving for cost and investing it through cost.
Got it. Wonderful. I think a lot of insights into what Hexa is doing about the healthcare ecosystem, and I love the way how you clearly defined how you look at a problem and how deeply you marry it to make sure that you're being able to solve it with a very nuanced approach and a very detailed approach. So I love that part. I think that's one very important take for me, and I'm sure the viewers, listeners would really appreciate that. Thanks a lot, for coming on this show, Vikas, and it was amazing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having. These are the moments where you reflect your own journey, and you also have a lot of good memories and reflections. So
Yeah,
thank you so much for having me. I loved interacting with you.
thank you.